Hi everyone, I'm Sunshine,
And I'm Shogo.
and welcome to OMG Japan.
In this podcast, Rakugo master Katsura Sunshine and Let Shogo delve into the theme of enjoying Japan more, revealing the secrets of Japanese culture and the behind the scenes of our activities, all while aiming to connect more closely with you. So, Sunshine, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions that I often get on Instagram. So, guys, for those of you listening to this, I always exchange messages on Instagram. I always take about 30 minutes every day to reply to my DMs on Instagram. And there's a couple of questions that
I take 2 minutes a day
often
to reply to my DMs, and we have different numbers of DMs, I think.
So there's a couple of questions that I get very often. Yes.
Yeah.
One of which I actually asked you last week was when's the best time to visit Japan? If you remember.
Yeah, I remember, and you did a process of elimination to something like spring, right?
Yeah. I said May would be great
May,
if you
yeah.
can avoid the golden week. Yes. That's from the
I
second
totally
week to the fourth week of May would probably be not so cold, not too hot yet, and no rain yet either. It would be the best timing because it's quite quiet and easy to travel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have quite a lot of other stuff too that I'd like to ask you. How would you answer this question? I've heard that tipping is rude in Japan. Is this true? I'm pretty sure a lot of people like videos. I've made videos, tons of videos about this too. But how would you answer this question? Yeah, is tipping rude in Japan?
Well, I think like anywhere, it depends on the size of the tip.
Yeah.
Not really. It's just not done, right?
Exactly.
I think a lot of people, like a lot of people wouldn't know what to do with a tip.
Right?
Yeah,
that's right. Where
if
did
you go
this
to
idea
review at a
of
typical
rude
restaurant,
came from, though?
well, I think that kind of like there's just no tipping in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
There's no tipping in Japan. Maybe some people like gave a tip to a waiter. They're like, "Oh, well, what do I do with this?" Because they don't get tipped ever.
Mm-hmm.
So then they would make it look confused. They would give it back. They said, "No, we don't." Something like that. So then people say, "Oh, maybe it's rude here." I can see that. People,
Okay.
a lot of people misinterpret
Mm-hmm.
stuff when I find when they come to Japan too, especially they'll say this was their reaction, and so this is what it must mean. And I'm like, okay, well, that was the reaction, but that's not exactly what it means.
That's right. Because we have different cultures,
So I think it
different
comes from that,
reactions
just some kind
has
of
different meanings.
misunderstanding. Yeah, you really don't tip
Yeah.
here, right? Like you don't tip anywhere. Not in a
No.
restaurant, not in a cab,
Mm-hmm.
not
Almost never, yeah.
um,
But the thing is, we talked a little bit about otoshi, right? At your favorite restaurant,
Yeah.
And I think someone wrote a comment like saying that basically otoshi is kind of like tipping almost. Yeah, right. It's
not really.
Not really? Okay.
Well, the waiter doesn't get that. The waitress doesn't get that.
True. It's a bit
I'll
different.
tell you
It's
what tipping
to
is.
the
You know
restaurant.
what they do tip in Japan.
Okay.
If you go to a bar,
Mhm.
you know what I'm going to say? If you go to a bar where there's it's like a kind of professional bar, right? So there's some bar, like that's kind of, there's a bartender, a couple bartenders.
Yeah.
They're making you drinks
Uh-huh.
to buy the bartender a drink. So just like a drink with me, or have one of whatever you want or something like that.
Okay.
That's a way to tip in Japan. And so I was having sushi yesterday with my friend Yumi-san, and she was ordering bottles of sake, but was also getting the sushi chef to come and bring his cup, and she was pouring him as well as herself, or I was pouring hers, whatever.
Yeah.
So that's actually giving the bartender or the sushi chef or that kind of thing, asking them to join you in a drink is a kind of tip. That's a Japanese tip.
Makes sense. I think a lot of people don't talk about that. Yeah, that's really interesting.
And you'd have to be here a while to notice people doing it. Like it's very subtle.
Yeah,
Very subtle.
that's right.
But so number one, I don't know if a lot of bartenders in the West or chefs or that kind of thing are actually drinking while they're working. I don't know how much of that there is, and certainly they wouldn't be drinking like obviously in front of customers. Where here is, if you buy, like the sushi chef yesterday was, he was drinking sake while making sushi, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh, and when we went to Kyoto, also I was pouring wine for my buddy. So that's kind of a tip.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So it's not cash then, basically. It's kind of like letting them
Not
join
cash.
with the sake and whatever you're drinking then.
Yeah, just sharing a drink. Now,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
the
yeah.
owners of for the person who's getting the drink, it's
Hmm.
I guess they'll enjoy the drink. And if it's the owner of the establishment, then they're
Hmm.
making the money on that drink that you bought them as well.
True, true. That's right. That's right.
Because if
Exactly,
you say pour
exactly.
yourself something, they'll put that charge in, and so that's an extra it's an
Hmm.
extra drink that they've sold. Now, if they're just working there,
Exactly.
that they don't get that money, but they just get a
That's the
drink.
thing. Yeah. So
So
wait.
it's more
So
of a feeling. It's more of a
mhm.
tipping with good feelings, good
That's right.
vibes,
That's right. That's
good
right.
vibe
Exactly.
tipping.
Exactly. So that means overseas. I mean, I don't know which country has that of the tipping culture, but then that specific waiter or waitress will receive the money themselves then when they get tipped.
Where
It's not the shop or the restaurant. That individual
are
receives
you
the
talking
money
about
then.
abroad?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Overseas, yeah, outside of Japan,
Yeah,
like in the U.S. maybe. No, or the
yeah.
yeah.
The waiter or waitress or whoever will receive that
Uh-huh.
tip.
Okay.
I think there's a system of tipping out. So it's you
Mhm.
take part of your tips and give them to maybe bus boys and bus people, whatever,
Mm.
because they don't get
Okay.
directly tipped, and
Okay. Okay.
maybe to cooks, chefs, and that kind of thing. I can't remember. Can't remember how the
Mm.
tipping
Okay.
out goes. So you give a part of your tip to other people that don't get tips in the restaurant if you
Mm-hmm,
want,
hmm.
and but basically you keep. In theory, you should be keeping all your tips. Yeah.
Oh, okay, makes sense. But I really feel that this when even when you want to, for example, tip or treat someone in Japan, yeah, the
Yeah.
money or the whole thing goes to basically the restaurant or the owner or whoever it is, you know. I think this system is really Japanese, I really feel, you know. Because
Yeah.
whoever superior is more important, that person gets to decide everything, right? In Japan, traditionally, yeah.
Sure.
So
Sure. Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah. The organization or the team is more important than the individual in
Hierarchical
Japan.
chart. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, but I think what you said earlier is really good advice for people coming to Japan when they start, having a good meal, having some alcohol, starting to feel really good, and you want to do, to show your appreciation to the people working for you. Then yeah, buy them a drink. Yes, I think that would be really good. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I hate tipping.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
tip. Yeah. I mean, I tip. I'm not a cheapskate. I tip, but
Hmm.
like something like in the States where like every person that lifts a finger for you, you're supposed
Hmm.
to be like reaching into your pocket and giving them a tip.
Oh yeah.
And then like every time you give someone a tip, you feel like you're being judged on the size of that tip. Like,
Mm,
just
that's
I find it
right.
extremely stressful. Like that's why
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I love being in Japan. It's just like everybody's working, everybody's receiving whatever their wages, and you just like you just go.
Yeah, 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 that's right. It's the tipping culture exists in New York too, right? Where you go often,
Oh, it's massive. Yeah, yeah, it's everywhere.
right? Isn't it? Yeah,
Someone
yeah,
lifts a
yeah.
finger to bring a bag from the hallway to the cab for you, and you're supposed to give them a tip and stuff like that. Like this is it's a lot.
Oh, really? Okay. How do you tip them though? Do you everyone still carry cash with them, or like most
Yeah, I
people?
mean that's the other thing.
Hmm.
I go weeks without having uh, a a yen of
Mhm.
cash in my wallet.
I
Just
hardly hold any
yeah, it's all
actual,
plastic now. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well,
Cards,
hopefully,
electronic,
hey, soon
payments.
you'll have service industry people like with their own QR codes there. Like I accept credit
Like
cards
on my
for
name
a
card,
tip.
here we go.
Yeah,
This is for PayPay. That kind of stuff,
yeah.
right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
Now,
interesting.
speaking
Yeah,
of that, I was
yeah.
at the party I told you I was at, the
Hmm.
Sobits seeing
Hmm.
people off. There were a lot of very interesting people. One guy is in the
Hmm.
technology industry,
Yeah.
medical, making medical machines basically.
Okay.
And this guy, I said, "Oh, let's exchange Line." Which those of you who don't know Line, it's just like
Mhm.
is it like WhatsApp or something? One of
Yeah.
these
Messenger.
communication. It's kind of a messenger. Yeah, let's exchange Line IDs. He held out his hand, and then he brought my phone near his hand, and his hand started flashing green. He had a chip implanted into his hand. And then when I brought my phone to it, it brought out his like Facebook, Line, WhatsApp, all these choices of like whatever I wanted to register into my phone.
Seriously?
I'm serious. I've never seen it before. I've heard that this kind of thing exists, but I've never seen it
Yeah,
before.
yeah. I've heard of it before. Like I think it was like on a video I watched somewhere, but
Yeah,
Wow.
I was like, wow, that's
Like
very interesting.
inside the hand, right? Is that on the
He
back of the hand? Is it,
it's right in between his thumb and forefinger, right here. I don't know if you can see that right here.
yeah, yeah, I can see that. Yeah. That is that's scary.
That was pretty wild. He said, yeah, yeah, he pays with that. I don't know like how much you can do with it really, but you can program it to do whatever, to have
Wow.
whatever your information is. And so he pays with that. He's never without his wallet.
That is crazy. I mean, I actually have something called the Hello Ring, which is
Oh
like
yeah.
a really big ring that you can put on and you can put a phone over it and then it lets you jump to your website or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
That ring is
Okay.
actually pretty convenient. I mean, it's a good way to start a conversation, hi, nice to meet you. Oh, this is my name card. Actually I have something like this. Can you put your phone on this? And it'd be like, it's kind of they
Yeah.
have to bring their phone close to your hand and it kind of, makes you friendly or easier kind of thing,
That's
So that's
interesting.
really
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
really fun. But a chip inside your
Well,
hand.
a chip implanted into your hand is a
Yeah.
good conversation starter. I'll tell you that. I
Yeah.
was thinking, that like kind of like to try that because
Yeah.
it was really fun with conversation and all that. But
Uh-huh.
I don't know. But it feels weird. It feels weird to like that. To
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I thought like part of me would just love to try that. I like these kind of new things. I asked him if it hurt. That was my first question. Does it hurt?
Yeah, what did you say?
I said, no, it doesn't hurt at all. Like a
Really?
prick when you put it in. And I said, is this really expensive? He said, no, like Nima, which is about $200.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's nothing.
That that makes it a little bit scary for me though, if it's too cheap, but
No,
wow.
but he also said, I also read up about it, and it sounds like there have been
Yeah.
zero cases of bodies rejecting it or anything like that. So it has
Okay.
apparently there's been no real medical problems from it so
At
far.
the
And he
moment,
said he's
yeah.
had his in like
Okay.
4 years, like nothing. And then
Oh.
so I think you can, and it can be like reprogrammed if the technology gets.
Mm-hmm.
You can
Mm-hmm.
take it out any time. He said so.
Mm.
I don't know. Like, yeah, part of me might want to try for a while, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
totally
think I'll
understand.
wait on that.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Wow. Then
Yeah,
we can just maybe I can ask you another question because
sure.
this is a question that's often asked too, which I don't
Yeah,
really understand where it came from, but slurping noodles. Yeah, along with tipping is rude in Japan. Another topic that a lot of people still talk about is slurping noodles and
people seem to be
it's
obsessed with what's rude in Japan. Eh?
yeah, it's and this case, by the way, slurping noodles, a lot of people tend to think that it's a way to express your appreciation to the chef.
Yeah,
Yeah, have you heard of this before?
yeah.
Where did this come from?
I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, yeah, that comes from Japanese people. That's what I've heard that
Oh,
explanation before
really?
from Japanese people.
Really?
Yeah,
There's some
express your
Japanese people
appreciation
saying that?
to the
Okay,
chef,
okay.
or it's a way to eat in a delicious way, right? Oishison ni tabereru
Ah.
wa oto naka whatever you say, slippery.
Yeah, yeah,
Oishison ni
yeah, yeah.
tabereru, this means the way to make it seem like you're enjoying the food.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's what people consciously have in their minds when they're slurping.
Not at all. No. No, 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 no. Okay, okay. But I totally, when you just explained to me that, I do kind of understand what kind of Japanese people would explain it that way, because I think a lot of parents, like when my generation,
Japanese
when we
people
were
that are
young,
wrong.
when we were young, yeah,
Yeah,
if we were, for example, eating ramen without slurping,
yeah.
our parents' generations, my generation would probably be often taught like, don't eat like that. It's too like it's slow,
Yeah.
and it looks like you're eating spaghetti and not ramen, if that makes sense, and
So
it's just taking too much time, and is I my father once told me that actually before.
right.
So I think I kind of understand how some people might explain it that way. But
So
now that idea has spread so much that it sounds like that's the main reason why we need to slurp noodles.
got it. Got it.
Yeah, in certain places.
So
Yeah,
your
exactly.
fathers are racist.
Okay.
Don't
Why?
eat like those spaghetti eaters. Eat like a proper Japanese. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm totally kidding. No, yeah. So I mean, that's probably where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's what is the real explanation? I mean, I think some people say it's like mixing the air with the soup and
Yep,
stuff like that makes it just
that's
actually
exactly
does make it
correct.
taste
Yeah.
better.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Number one, when you want to drink or eat something that's hot, yeah, if you slurp the noodles, then the air will come in together, so
Yeah, so
it'll
cool it off.
it'll
Yeah,
even cool it off.
that makes
Yes, and
sense
then the
too.
second thing is what you just said. It
Hey,
makes the
just
it
wait.
enhances the taste too. Yeah.
Just blow on it. Okay.
That's another thing. So a lot of people have this misunderstanding too. But number one, at a busy ramen restaurant, no one's gonna be listening to you slurping. You know, they don't have time to do that. So
Yeah.
it's, I mean, it might, what should I say? It is a traditional way of eating soba, you know,
Yeah.
udon
Yeah. Yeah.
noodles, ramen to slurp it. But if you don't do it, tons of Japanese people don't do it or can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no problem at all. There's nothing you have to worry about, you know? And
Yeah,
number
I'm
two,
terrible.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
do it at
yeah. I
all.
totally understand. Yes.
The soup comes out of my nose if I try to slurp.
Yeah. My sister can't do it either. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly,
Okay, good.
exactly. Yeah,
Good, good,
so
good.
yeah, that's one thing. And another thing is just it's just trying to make the ramen taste better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if you don't slurp, is it gonna taste fairly bad? No, the answer is no, absolutely not. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I still have so many people asking me about the tipping and also about the slurping noodles. You know,
Interesting, interesting,
is this
interesting.
rude? Why should we not do this? Why should we do this? You know, because Japan has too many rules and it makes a lot of people nervous. So
Sure.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm
Sure,
really
sure,
happy that I
sure,
asked
sure.
you these questions though, because the tipping part especially was really, really interesting. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
yeah, because what you said, you know, being having a customer, you know, buying you a beer, for example, and
Yeah.
drinking that in front of other customers might be considered, you know, not so good outside of Japan in certain places, right?
Yeah.
But in Japan, it's totally fine. I mean, we only think that, oh, that, you know, that chef or whoever it is, that waiter, oh, they're lucky, you know? That's all. That's it. All it is at an izakaya or a bar,
Sure,
you know?
sure, 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 sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's not considered bad or anything. If they get totally drunk, if they're, you know, sleeping on the floor, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if they're working, then it's not a problem at all, you know, in
Yeah. Not a
Japan.
problem.
So yeah,
100%.
I
Yeah.
think that's a really good, important advice you can give to the people, yeah, or
Sure.
visiting Japan. I think so. That's awesome. Great. Thank you so much. Okay.
Now, can we?
Yeah,
I want to go back to one thing. This is what I wanted. One thing
please.
I wanted to bring up today, and actually, I should have brought it up before because we were talking about you doing Rakugo.
Yeah, please.
I, you did. I saw a video of you doing
Mhm.
manju kawaii, scary
Oh yeah.
manju. What is a manju again in English?
I'm scared of manju. Yeah.
What is manju in English? Manju is like
Manju sweet buns
sweet bun. Yeah,
is what I
sweet bun.
looked up. Yeah.
Sweet bun. Okay, okay, yeah. So sweet bun.
Mhm.
When did you do that?
When did I do that?
Yeah, I
You
saw a
mean on
video of
the
you doing. You weren't actually in Seiza or anything like that, but you were kind of doing a video of you say, "Hey, here's the Rakugo story," and you kind of narrated it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a YouTube short that I put up on show. Let's ask Shogo. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, when did you do that? Is that recently,
That? Yeah, I
or
think
is
it
that
was
a
like
really old short?
no. It was a newer one.
Because sometimes old ones come
On
up, right? Like that's why I
Yeah,
wasn't sure.
that's right. That's right. No, it was a new one. I think I recorded that like last December or something, and I posted it like one week ago or something. I think at the point of recording this right
Right,
now.
right, right,
Yeah.
right, 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 right.
Mhm.
Okay, I have, I have a Rakugo tip for you
Okay.
based on that. I was watching. I was thinking, oh, I got to tell Shogo-san next time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you said it's manju kawaii.
Yeah.
So it's scary sweet buns.
Uh-huh.
But then you changed it. What did you change it to?
Cakes.
Cakes or something like that?
Yeah.
Cakes, and then the punchline is like, okay, cakes are scary.
Uh-huh.
And with the punchline is like now the next my second scariest one is what was
Coffee.
it? Coffee or something like that?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I think it was originally tea, right? I think. Was it?
It's originally like the sweet buns
Uh-huh.
and tea.
And tea, right? Yes,
Yeah.
at the end it was tea. Yep.
She
That's
said,
right.
just make it easier to understand. We'll do cakes and coffee.
Mhm.
So my tip is my Rakugo tip of the
Please.
day for that.
Please, Sensei. Yes.
If you make it cake and coffee,
Yeah.
it turns it into a like it's turning into you're blurring the Japaneseness of the story.
Okay, okay, okay.
I would keep it, but I'd find a way to keep if you possibly can keep it to manju. You can explain in the introduction, if you say like these sweet cakes are popular all over Japan and they're a delicious dessert, that kind of thing, you can keep it manju, was what I would do. But even if you weren't, like in the actual telling of the story, everybody's like,
Mhm.
I'm terrified of snakes. Oh yeah, snakes are terrible. I'm terrified of something, right?
Yeah,
People say
ghosts
I'm terrified of
or
ghosts.
spiders.
I'm
Yeah.
terrified of my older sister, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They have
yeah,
some funny
yeah.
ones. Says, I'm terrified of manju, right? He says, manju,
Mhm.
what? What? Sweet cakes? You're afraid of those? Those delicious with the little bit of powder on top and the filling. How could you? There's nothing more delicious than sweet cakes, and you're afraid of those? Yo, don't even describe it. I'm terrified, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
can put the explanation of the thing, even though you don't have to explain it at the beginning, but you can put the
Makes
explanation
sense.
into the lines of the characters,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's no necessity to water down the Japaneseness of the story. It's just one easy thing.
Thank you so much.
And
Yes.
then with the punchline, it's like, oh, well, he's eating all kinds of sweet cakes because they put the sweet cakes. Sorry, the manju. They put the manju in the room with him to try to terrify him, and he's just like
Mm-hmm.
eating them, right? And then they come in and say,
Mm-hmm.
"Hey, you said you were afraid of these." He said, "I seem to have overcome my fear, right?" But so what are you really afraid of? I'm really afraid of delicious green tea or something like that. You can throw it in delicious or something like that, and you
Yeah.
keep it green tea, and then everybody can appreciate the joke, but also you don't um you don't distract with
Professional
like
tip.
yeah because
Yeah,
you know
how you
you
explain it right now makes the story so much easier to understand. It's so much almost yeah,
it's
so much
still
more
easy
almost
to understand, but
Yeah.
you don't have to replace it with because
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think a lot of
yeah.
audiences are like, well, if, as an audience member, you don't want it's just blurred, and then it's like, okay, well,
Mm-hmm.
this is a Japanese story, but you're making it easier for me to understand. I mean, don't really need that, right? A lot of people don't really need it. A lot of people know what manju is already, and
Mm-hmm.
and then also a lot of audiences in English want to hear the Japanese word or Japanese phrases, that kind of thing. They want to hear it anyway. So with
Mm-hmm.
unagi, when I did the unagi story, I kept unagi as eel. I threw in the word eel sometimes, but I basically
Mm.
made eel into unagi in
Oh, okay. You
English.
literally said the word unagi instead of eel
Unagi,
then.
yeah. I mean, you say it once or twice, and
Oh,
people know what you're talking about. So
it's
yeah.
nice, 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 nice. Yeah.
But then,
But thank
because
you
there's a
so much
lot
though.
of
Yeah.
people that have gone to restaurants and have
Mm-hmm.
seen manju on the menu, have seen
Yeah, yeah,
unagi on the
yeah.
menu. They know that Japanese, even if they don't know Japanese per se.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a surprising amount of Japanese you can just keep in its original Japanese.
Interesting. True, true, true. That was I actually the thing is though, Sunshine, before I post the other ones, I've already recorded a few other introducing Nakuo stories shorts already.
Right?
So there's
Okay.
gonna be a few other coming out that I've already
Ah,
recorded.
I'll give
So
you some pro tips if it's appropriate.
yeah, yeah,
But no,
absolutely.
you got
Thanks
a
so much.
lot of nice comments on that
No,
video
I
too.
was
Like
really
people really
surprised by
really enjoyed
how
it. Yeah.
many people watched it. It was actually the top short video that got the most amount of views among the last 10 shorts that I posted actually.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was really surprised by how many people were interested in just me introducing the story, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
The whole concept of it is me introducing the stories of Rakugo, and then people will be like, okay, so this is kind of like the idea of what Rakugo is going to be like. Then
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
I actually go and watch a professional's,
Yeah.
performance? That's the reason why I didn't want to sit in Seiza because I didn't want to act like a Rakugoka, because
Sure.
that's
Sure.
not
Sure. 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 Sure.
respectful. Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So I was really happy that a lot of people seemed interested. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I liked it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I was like, Shogo-san's gonna do
Right?
some Rakugo here.
Yeah, yeah. I've already recorded a few other ones, the ones that I especially love the most, and they're just really interesting. Yeah.
But you're actually doing Rakugo. You're more narrating the story because Rakugo in itself has very little narration. But you're doing
Mhm.
like more like a summary of the story. But you're doing it in a
Exactly,
very
exactly.
entertaining way. Like you can kind of really
Really?
sucks you into the story. Yeah. I loved it.
Hmm.
I loved it. That was really
Thank you
cool.
so much. Yeah,
And the
because
best way to do it if you're
yeah.
doing it in 1 minute,
Mhm.
like because to try to do the thing in conversation style and then also make it into 1 minute would be kind of a challenge. But because you're kind of summarizing the story in an
Mhm.
entertaining way, you're able to like boom, 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 kind of skip parts and then do it very compactly. No, I love it. I love it. As soon as I
Mhm.
saw it, I was like, I think Shogo-san needs a little bit of some pro tips here.
Thank you. That's amazing. Thank you so much.
Not
Just you
all.
explaining to me how it could be better just sounded 100 times better, thousand
Just
times
makes
better
sense.
already.
Yeah,
So
not 100%. It's a little 10%,
yeah,
10%,
yeah. 10%. Awesome.
10%
Thank you.
better.
Yeah, but I was talking with my wife too. I mean, there's a lot of Japanese traditional culture that I love very much, right? And I've been training in Kobudo, I do no theater, shakuhachi, blah, blah, blah. And the things that I fell in love with immediately, the moment I started learning about it, I was like, this is amazing. Yes. Was, of course, Kobudo, Semichi, I do that I love. I love tea ceremony very much too, no theater too. But the one thing that I don't train in at the moment, but at the same time, the moment I started studying about it and making a video on Lasa Shogo, I was like, this is amazing, was actually Rakugo. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, the first book that I read, yes, Kyoyo no Tame no Rakugo. Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was a book written by, I think it was Bunshi, I think.
All right.
I forgot who wrote the book, but he wrote a book about the history of Rakugo, how to enjoy the basic stories you should know, everything in one book, the Kyoyo Toshite no Rakugo. And I read that in one day. It was like, this is so much fun,
Yeah. No, exactly. I'm glad you like Rakugo.
Yeah, that's the reason why if you would allow me, it'd be great if I can continue being on stage with you in Asakusa,
100%. Dude,
not just this one occasion. Yeah, so.
For sure. You'd be a regular guest.
Perfect.
Regular guest.
Thank you so much.
With your popularity, we might start to sell out. I'll have to give you Sode no shita, which is putting money into the kimono sleeves.
That's right.
It's actually a word for bribe, but
yeah.
I like the term. I like the term a lot.
So much.
I think now that you say that, I think we should produce. I think we should produce a Netflix documentary on Rakugo.
You were talking about that. Yeah, you were talking about that the first time we met.
You should be the host.
Okay.
And interview a lot of Rakugo storytellers, and then and talk about the history of Rakugo, like a regular Netflix documentary. I'll just be. You can interview me as part of it.
Yeah,
I got to put myself in somewhere.
Of course. Yeah. No, please give me more of the ideas that you have. I'd be happy to do everything I can.
I think that'd be incredible because everything you've done with Let's Ask Shogo, it should be an extension of that. It'll be like a few hours of just because the history of Rakugo is actually pretty interesting as well. How the stories came from like Buddhist monks and stuff like that.
Awesome. And if I go to Asakusa that often, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that I can meet if I stay for an extra night. You can maybe introduce me to some of the other Rakugo masters that you know of that might be able to be on our show maybe or on OMG Japan or I think we could do that too.
Could do 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. I would absolutely love to interview your apprentices too, by the way, if I have a chance.
Yeah, Sunny's coming in March.
All right. So
I don't know. Can you come down to Tokyo in March?
March, I am not too sure. March is a super busy season with the cherry blossoms, So
yeah.
I might be riding around a little bit in Kyoto actually, but someday. Yes.
Or he might go up if we go up to Kyoto.
Yeah, absolutely.
We may go up there for one reason or another.
That's going to be amazing. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Then thank you so much. I actually have something I have to do from 10:30, which is about 15 minutes. I have to get going.
Okay.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
wrap up.
But
enough of us talking today.
The next time, I think I'm going to be seeing you. I think this week's podcast I'll be posting the last recording the next week. So I think I'll be able to meet you in Asakusa next. Or maybe we might do one recording before that. We'll see how that goes. Okay.
Yeah, I might be able to slide one in between when I get back from the States and when I start
perfect.
When I start the show in Asakusa.
Awesome. Oh, thank you so much, Sunshine.
Great.
All right, guys, thank you so much for listening.
See you very soon. See you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Arigato. Mata ne.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. The two of us are involved in various Japan-related projects on a global scale, so please take a look at the description for more information. We're looking forward to your comments too. Then we'll talk to you again in the next one. ありがとうございました。